Hey, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Amish Rebel Podcast. We're grateful that you're tuning in, and we look forward to sharing some more information today. Today we're going to do something slightly different. I announced in the last video that we're looking to start bringing some more just kind of news from the Amish communities, and so I believe I announced that. Hopefully I did. Anyway, that's kind of what we're looking to do today, is bring you some news from the Amish communities just around the U.S. And that way we're not just sharing our thoughts and our experiences, but we're also sharing people from different communities. We're sharing their experiences. And so we're going to read off a few articles, and then we'll just have conversation around that. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. Should be interesting. We're pretty excited about it. We actually got an Amish lamp burning in the center shot here today because Lavina had one and we got some oil for it. We thought, why not put it in the shot? So I hope you enjoy that as well.
Turn it down so it doesn't get too warm.
So we're recording. We got the AC on and we're burning a lamp, which puts off heat, but it's all good. We just wanted to show you guys what we used to have for light in our homes, and the lamp is the primary source of light within an Amish home, and that's at least the way that we grew up. Now there's more modern Amish. They have like solar power and they have some battery operated lights, but we're not allowed to have those. We're only allowed to have kerosene lamps and kerosene lanterns that we would use on our buggies. And so that is it's still a good way to get light if you ever run out of power. So it's actually not a bad idea to have one of those in your home. And to keep we burn kerosene because it burns cleaner. It doesn't put off as many fumes, and it also makes a nice flame. So that's why we use kerosene. It lasts a long time. You could burn, I don't know, for days with one lamp full of kerosene. So thank you for tuning in, and we're going to get right into it. Lavina's going to read off a few stories from the budget. So if you're interested in these Amish stories, we're reading out of the Budget newspaper, and this is the way that the Amish would get their news from community to community as well, or it's the primary way that they do get their news from community to community. So they can, every week, my dad would look forward to receiving this paper when he was still alive. He would sit down and read the Budget for hours and hours. So it's a way that they get their news. It's just they don't sit down and watch TV in order to do that. So we're gonna demonstrate how they get their news, and then we're gonna talk about the stuff that we're reading, kind of explain what's going on within that. So for those of you that may read it and not understand 100% what's going on, if you don't live in or around an Amish community, it may not make sense to you. So we're hoping to be able to explain some of those situations and scenarios that those people are in, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Okie doke. You want to tell them how it works, or you want me to do it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the name, like they have the budget, and then in this issue, they have their index, which is all of the states with the town names and the page it's on, and it doesn't just go 1, 2, 3 for the pages. It goes A1, A2, A3, goes to A22, and then it starts over at B1 and go to B22 and C1, like it's sections with letters and numbers, so it's not just an uncomplicated page through. And here they have obituaries, and not every Amish person that passes away makes it in here. It's just if their relative sends their obituary into the budget, they will end up in here. Here they have, usually have 100 years ago, a fun fact of 100 years ago. This time it's Hutchinson, Kansas, August 20, 1924. We are having rather windy and hot weather at present. It is also getting quite dry again, but we are having cool nights. Yesterday the thermometer read yesterday as high as 107 degrees in the shade. We had good rain on the 10th. So, a fun fact about 100 years ago in Hutchinson, Kansas. And then in this issue, they have some fun little things that people just have in the article, just fun little pieces. And here they have 4 sections, so each section has a letter, so it goes to section D. 68 pages, 50,000 readers each week in plain communities across the Americas. It comes out every Wednesday, so every Wednesday they have a new article. And here's like the menu, I don't know what to call it, the list of stuff, what is it called?
The layout, I don't know.
Layout. List of stuff that they have. They have the Publisher's Corner, the Cooking with Marty, where they always have several recipes, obituaries, unser Leid, which means our people, memoriams, showers and cards of thanks, information please, where people can put piece in asking other people for information, and if other people have information, they'll send it in to the budget, and the budget will publish it, and then they'll read the information. And then they have classified ads and a closer look. So it's all throughout here, like they have ads here and there throughout it, just like any other newspaper, except they're usually more centered towards the Amish. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, I just also wanted to say this video is not sponsored by the budget.
No.
We just simply wanted to make a video explaining how the Amish receive their news and how they stay connected from community to community. And this is one of the ways they do it. I mean, they have multiple ways that they do it, but this is one of the ways that they find out about things that are happening in different communities without modern technology. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense to you. If you've never seen the budget before, then that probably didn't make a lot of sense to you at all, but it's okay. If you end up buying the budget and it is a subscription, you can sign up for it, and you just have to contact the budget. I don't even know if they have a website. I think it's just a Facebook page, but
they do have a phone number. They
have a phone number on there, and just tell them that the Amish Rebel Podcast sent you. I highly doubt that they know who that is, but hopefully they will soon.
A lot of these Amish probably don't realize that they're ending up on a podcast.
I'm sure they're not. They're not. So we're just simply reading what was written down, and then we're going to talk about what's happening in that article. So hopefully you'll find it interesting, and if you're close to one of those communities, you can give a shout out to the person that the article was about. Maybe we should, I don't know, should we mention names?
I don't know.
We'll just simply read what's there.
Yeah, because
it is public. It's public information.
It's public and anybody can get into this. Like, okay, here's a piece from Bonaparte, Iowa. They always first did a date, so it's August.
Before you begin to read, so we want to clarify, this is an old order Amish community.
Yes,
so if you haven't been following our videos, there are different denominations amongst the Amish. So there's like very, very conservative. The most conservative is Schwarzentrooper Amish, and there's a church called Dan Church, Danme. That one's not quite as conservative. Then there's Old Order, and I'm probably missing one or two in between, but they're all, some of them are a little bit more advanced. And so this community that we're reading from is a little bit more advanced than the way that we grew up.
It is. And also, any denomination of Amish and Mennonite can write in here, like,
yeah, the Schwarzentrooper, sure. Yeah.
Any Amish and Mennonite will write articles here. And they just pick one person out of one community. Like, there's always one person in the community that will just make it their duty to send an article in either every Monday or every other Monday, usually every 2 weeks.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
send an article in. So person just decides it's their duty to do that, and once they quit, someone else will take it on. So this is just a random person in one of the communities. And it's old order. So August 18, 2024. What a nice day today. Had the service in the shed again, which made it nice. By the service, they mean church. Was a little smaller gummeh today as some were sick and others went to the baptism church in North Milton. Church was at Mose Miller's for Monroe Miller's and Lord willing at Norman Yoder's next. To be doffed me then. This will be first-timers in their new home. Visitors today were Andy Iger and Irvin Yoders of Minister and Deacon. They just got back from North Vernon from hospital visiting their niece, who's still in the hospital from her accident.
Can I stop you?
There's like one sentence. Says she's getting more feelings back slowly. Isn't that a blessing?
Yeah, so the church, you talked about the church being in the shed, right?
Yeah.
So it's always at someone's house,
mm-hmm.
and they take turns. So let's say I was Amish and we were gonna have church, so we'd have church at our place, and then during service, the preacher would announce where the church is gonna be, because they only have church every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks they have church service, and every 2 weeks it's at someone else's house, unless they skipped last time and they're making up, or someone else couldn't make it, then they might volunteer to do it twice. But usually it's every week, or every 2 weeks it's at someone else's house, and then the deacon or the preacher will announce that during service. And so that's what they're talking about. They actually had service in the shed instead of inside the house. So some people have a smaller house and they can't house that many people, so they might have it in the barn, or they might have it in the shed. And you say, how does that work? If they have it in the barn, there's animals. Well, usually their barns are built in a way where the animals are down below and the service is on the second floor, where the hay and the straw and all that is. So they put hay down on the floor. No kidding. They put hay down, and then they set the benches, and then the people sit on the benches and they have service. Just like that. The horses are downstairs, the cows are downstairs, and they have service on the upper part of the barn. And sometimes it gets real interesting when the horses start to make noises and all of that, but that's how they have their services. And then in that article, they talked about where service was going to be, Lord willing. They always say Lord willing in 2 weeks.
Lord willing and we live, or we live and Lord willing, or something.
In 2 weeks it'll be at such and such house. And then I guess they talked about Doffme. They call it Doffme, but it's baptismal service. That's where all the youth that have joined the church and have been through the whole process of joining the church, they will get baptized, basically sprinkled. They drip a few drops of water on their head, and then they baptize them. That's how they baptize them.
And it also says it's the service is going to be at Norman Yoder's next. These will be first-timers in their new home, which would mean you can't have the church service at your home unless you're married. So this is a young couple, newly married couple's first time having church at their house.
That's a good point.
And the benches are all wooden and homemade and very hard. And the service is very long.
Yep, and it is long. It's
and during the
3
summer,
hours?
it's very hot because they don't have AC.
Oh, I used to go crazy.
No, it's more than 3 hours. No. It is
just 3
to 3.5. It starts at 9 and goes until 12 or 12:15.
I think I might have said this in a previous video, but previous episode, so excuse me if you've heard it before, but we would always, so if you had the service in the house, usually you're just going in someone's house, obviously everything's removed and benches are put up and it's organized to have church service, but sometimes the benches were put right by the clock. And the preacher would be preaching, and he would look at the clock when he was supposed to be done preaching. Well, this one time, us boys, young boys, 16, 17, 18, we were put right by the clock. So when nobody was looking, we reached up there and moved the clock forward like an hour. And in that case, the preacher it was hilarious because he was preaching, and then all of a sudden he looked up at the clock, and he about panicked, and he quickly wrapped up his sermon. And we got on our knees, and we prayed, and we were out of there. Church was done early. Apparently he did not have a pocket watch, because a lot of them do carry a pocket watch, and they watch what time it is, so they can keep track.
Which is so funny, like.
But that's how they keep track of time, and apparently he lost track of time because he thought he was running late.
And it also says, like, they had their visitors, like, visitors today were Andy Iger and Irvin Yoders. They were a minister and a deacon, and then she said they just got back from North Vernon from hospital visiting their niece who's still in the hospital from her accident. She didn't say what accident was or anything, because apparently she wrote that in her last, like, if we go to, like, the previous budget from a week earlier, she would have written that in there, what the accident was. It's like a continued thing. Like, you don't know what the accident is unless you read the other part. Yeah,
so hopefully we can keep you guys up to date on some of these stories, because we'll just follow along as we plan on doing this every week, where we share something from the budget, so that, again, we're including different communities and giving you guys hopefully a broader understanding of what goes on amongst these communities, because there's only so much we can share from our own experiences, and we love doing these videos and bringing you guys information about the Amish communities, and so that's why we are starting to do this. Plus, it keeps us with a good understanding of what's going on in the different communities. So hope you enjoy it.
Okie doke. Let's continue. It says, 2 couples going to church this morning had a change in their plans of going. Levi, Kathy, and Sherman got dumped out when their horse wanted to turn into a lane, and Levi jerked him the opposite way. It loosened the tuck and the shaft broke, which made so the horse got out of the shaft. This happened at Amos Iger's lane, which is a driveway, where they seen his open buggy on the outside, which they hitched to it and came to church. So they just picked up a random, like, other church member, like, their buggy shaft broke at the driveway of another church member's house or home, and they saw his open buggy sitting on. They just, without asking, hitched up to it and took it to church. Like, imagine like 2 small vehicles, like, one breaks down, we'll just go get the one at the end of the drive.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that in the real world. Now, if you have a really tight-knit community and
that's
really
what
close,
we mean by community among the Amish. Like,
the community, I mean, they're there for each other. It's not uncommon that you have an issue like that, and you would just go take someone else's buggy or horse or even harness if you need it, and they know you're gonna return it. That's where ethics also plays a big role in it, because sure, you can take it, but if you don't ever return it, that would be a big issue. And they just know, like, oh, well, my neighbor's gonna return it.
Should I share a little story about something my dad did one time?
Absolutely.
We were on the way to church on Sunday morning, and we had 10 miles to go. We were like halfway there almost. All of a sudden, he realized he had forgotten to shave the night before. He had a very noticeable stubble on his face. And we were almost at his first cousin's house. They grew up together, like they were close, like siblings. And so we stopped in would be my cousin, to a cousin's house. he went in and used her husband's razor and shaving cream and shaved. They weren't there anymore. Like, they had gone to church already. So he shaved his face on the way to church at the cousin's house. And when they got to church, he told them, and they didn't care.
Yeah, just when I walked in someone else's house.
We waited on the buggy, and he just walked in, and luckily they had left the door unlocked.
Yeah, and that is not uncommon. I will say that there are some Amish that are very disrespectful when it comes to that, because they don't knock, or at least the stormtroopers, they don't knock on your door when they show up. They just come right in. So you could be at home, whatever, like somebody just shows up at your house and walks right in the door. And
I remember one time Mom and Dad weren't at home, and so it was just us kids at home. It was Sunday evening, and we had a chair, like a regular chair with swivels on the bottom, and like a little, gosh, what are they called? The ones that are on little wheels, like they're on office chairs. Like the 360 wheels.
The swivels?
Yeah, swivel wheels, whatever they're called.
Caster,
yes.
Yeah.
And we tied a twine to one of those chairs, and we're pulling each other around the house like we were playing horse and buggy. And two couples, strangers, walked in the door. They wanted to visit. They just opened the door, and we were just unioning around the house with our chairs. We were so embarrassed because it was right after supper, and we still had all the dishes on the table.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you got the word real fast.
Yeah. But yeah, I just do that. So, to continue, it says, Nathan and Naomi, Yoder's horse, decided to stop going uphill and just wouldn't budge to go no further. When someone came along with a cart, and they switched horses and tied Nathan's horse to a tree and put the other people's cart nearby, then left for church. Nathan's just got home from vacation out west Saturday evening at 9 o'clock. They left 2 weeks ago with Naomi's sister Suette and Mrs. Jonathan Bontrager of Vive, Indiana. I think it's so funny how she had to put in that they got back at 9 o'clock. Like, how does she know exactly what time?
Yeah, these are details that they talk about. I mean,
oh yeah,
they talk about all the little details of.
They will not just say we left for Minnesota on a certain date. They will tell you what time, like which bus, because they use buses and trains. Yep. Like which bus, because they all know all their bus and train schedules and everything.
Yeah, everything's literal.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny how their horse just decided, he doesn't want to go to church anymore.
Oh, they just tied the horse up and left the cart and rode with the other couple?
Tied the horse to a tree and...
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, wait.
What did it say?
Tied...
Yeah,
let's see. They tied Nathan's horse to a tree... and put the other people's cart nearby, then left for church. So yes, they just
rode with the other couple.
Tied the horse to a tree and left him there until.
Yeah, I mean that could have.
I know that happens, but I always saw it like why wouldn't someone just come steal it? I personally would never have dared to do that, but I know people do it.
Yeah. I mean, in our community. Our horses tied up random places, and the worst thing that ever happened for us was they got untied and ran home. So you get back to the horse where you left him, and the horse is nowhere to be seen, and you go home. You continue going home, and oh yeah, by the way, the horse showed up at home at such and such time, because horses are... I mean, they're pretty much creatures of habit, so if they go to the same place over and over and over again, they'll continue to go back there. And so a lot of times if they got loose somewhere, they ran home. So, for example, if you're over at the neighbors and the horse gets untied and takes off with the horse and buggy, there's a good chance he'll run all the way home.
Yeah, I remember one time one of the neighbors borrowed one of our work horses, like to work in the field. Mm-hmm. And she was pretty old, but she was a fence chomper. Like, she chomped fences, and apparently they didn't know that. And during the night, she chomped the fence and came home.
Oh, wow.
So I had to come back and get her the next morning. And then it says, Daniel Lankahers were also visiting in church today of North Milton and Ray Yoder of Elbia. So they had more visitors in church from North Milton, Iowa and Elbia, Iowa. So that's just basic letting everybody know where everybody was.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say, so putting this in modern day terms, I guess. So, like, if you're a part of a church and let's say there's a church of 30 people and you know every one of the families, or 30 families, and you know every one of the families in that church, it's kind of like someone stepping into that church that's from a different part of the, maybe a different part of the country or a different part of the world even, so to speak, from miles away. And you immediately recognize that they're not one of the families that comes on a regular basis. And so that's kind of what it is like in the Amish community. As soon as a visitor shows up, everybody knows that that's a visitor, and they get treated, I guess they get treated a little bit differently than the people that are within the community. They, everybody wants them to come to their house and have a meal and all of that. So that's what they're talking about here. That's why they make such a big deal out of, like, well, who was visiting today at church, or who is at who and whose house, or whatever. Like, so, because whenever a visitor would show up at our house, when I was a kid, I remember it didn't matter if we were out putting up hay, or we were in the middle of a big project for a customer, like, because my dad did custom flooring and he did construction work, and so it didn't matter if we were in the middle of a big project. Everything got shut down, and we all went to the house and at least hung out for a little bit, and then maybe Dad would tell us boys to go back out and finish the work while he continues to visit with whoever came over to the house, a visitor from another state most of the time. Because if they're within the same community, it's not as big of a deal. But if they came all this way from another state, and it's not like they call and say, hey, we're going to be there in 20 minutes. No, they just show up one day and you had no idea they were coming. And you drop everything and you go spend time with this visitor, which I think is really cool. It shows, how important the relationships are within their community. And I think we've lost some of that in America for sure. Is like, we don't put any kind of weight, or we don't put much weight or importance on relationship. And especially not to that extent.
Yeah, no kidding.
We prioritize work, and that's why we got a lot of people that are lonely and, don't have...
And the Amish move so much slower than the world.
Oh,
yeah. Everything is done so much slower.
Yeah. Like,
they want to go 5 miles to do something. They have to cut half a day out of their schedule to go do that.
Yeah.
It's not just like run down the road and get this. It's like half a day.
Yeah.
We'll go do this afternoon, and that's what we'll do this afternoon.
Yep.
Like, everything takes a lot longer.
Well, it costs them financially. It costs them a lot less to live, because pretty much everything's handmade. Pretty much everything is grown in their gardens. Now, they do go to town and buy groceries, flowers, like some of the items that's not easily produced for them, but they can a lot, and they have firewood for heat. They don't have any AC. They don't have any power bills. So financially it costs them a lot less to live than it does for, like, normal society. So they don't have to prioritize work.
Yeah.
the way that we think we do now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I want a newer car, you know.
Yeah.
And it costs $80,000. So.
Alan Yoder, son of Mike's, and Linda Yoder, daughter of Thaniel's, picked September 5th for their special day, meaning their wedding day. This will be a first time for Thaniel's. I know the feeling, but God knows what will happen from day to day. So by this will be a first time, this would be their first daughter getting married. So if a couple gets married, the wedding is always at the daughter's parents' place.
Yep.
The daughter's parents plan the wedding, they pay for it, they set everything up, and it's always at the daughter's parents' place. So this is their first daughter getting married.
Yeah, and they know the feeling because it's a lot of weight and a lot of responsibility, a lot of planning,
work,
a lot of work. You know, it's like they don't have wedding venues. No, they have their property is their wedding venue. So everything has to be cleaned up, tidied up, cleaned
away because there are hundreds of people coming.
Yeah, put away. So that's where you may drive past the place and you see a sign out that says buggies or wedding or funerals. It's because the reason those signs are on the side of the road is because you'll have, I don't know, you have maybe 100, I don't know how many buggies, a couple hundred buggies. So you have lots and lots of buggies at one place. And that's why, I mean, I've seen some videos on the internet or on YouTube and different places where they show all the buggies lined up. And that's what that is. It's either a wedding or a funeral.
Or church.
Or church. Church is not nearly as big though.
Yeah, like, church is a lot smaller, but yes.
But usually, like in a wedding or a funeral, you'll have, I mean, it's not unusual to see 20 buggies lined up on the road, just going, trotting down the road and some people call those carriages. We always call them buggies, horse and buggies, and that's what the Amish call them, but maybe in a more modern term, it would be called a carriage.
Yeah. Okay, here's the very last paragraph. It says, I had a UTI to contend with, so I stayed home. Tomorrow is my checkup in Iowa City at the Mercy Hospital for my stents. I can feel each day is better. Maybe soon I'll carry my wheelchair on my back. Chewy, fat chance. I have a correction to make. Aaron Miller didn't have his two girlies along to church last time. It was Monroe's little tyke. Haven't seen her for a while. Sorry. Toby and Norman Bontrager.
So what do you want to add to that?
Not really anything except, like, she literally apologized for having gotten it wrong that this one dad didn't have his two little girls along to church. It was someone else's little.
Yeah, but that's not unusual either. Because...
And then you can, like, also her humor, fat chance.
Yeah. So the Amish do have a little bit of humor.
They do, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that she apologized, maybe she wrote about that last week.
Yeah, she wrote about that last week, and then she got it wrong, so she apologized.
Yeah, so that is definitely, I mean, that little small detail. Somebody in the community probably corrected her.
Yeah.
And so she corrected it on there, which kudos to her.
Yeah.
Making it right.
Okay. So, here's another one.
You want to read another one?
I mean, sure. Why not?
Okay.
This one is also from Iowa. So I picked a couple of them out, and I unintentionally picked both of them from Iowa. So this one is also old order.
Iowa's a great state. I have family in Iowa.
I grew up in Iowa.
We'll make Iowa famous.
Yeah. Okie doke. It says August 19, 2024, which is a Monday, or was a Monday. Another beautiful summer day with fluffy white clouds in the blue sky. Laundry is done and it's flapping in the breeze, so it should not take long for it to dry. We did another 3 hours of raspberry picking this morning, and now I need to go pick ours. Those will go to the produce auction tomorrow morning. That was the first paragraph.
Oh wow!
The
I just
produce
want to talk about the 3 hours of strawberry picking.
Yeah.
A lot of people are probably wondering, well, what is 3 hours of strawberry picking? It's exactly that, 3 hours.
No, it's raspberry
or
picking,
raspberry.
so that's even worse.
Oh my goodness! You take a bucket, and I was not good at this. You take a bucket, like most of the time it's an ice cream.
Empty ice cream pail. Yeah.
An empty ice cream pail, because they save those. And we would go out and pick raspberries, and we would pick raspberries and pick raspberries.
And it takes a long time. They have thorns and
and it's a lot of times, if you're close by an Amish community and you have woods, more than likely you've been asked for them to come over and pick raspberries at your place. Because it's very, very common that they would go around to the neighbors. Or at least we would in our community. I assume this happens in other communities. But you would go around and you would ask if you could pick wild raspberries in the woods. And you would go out and just pick raspberries until your heart's content. Well, what would happen with me is I'd pick some and then I'd eat them. And I would come back and Mom would say, "Where are all your raspberries?" And my face was covered in raspberry juice. So I wasn't very good at it. But yeah, 3 hours. What was the first thing the clothes.
Yeah, they had done, so it was Monday, so they usually do laundry on Mondays and Fridays.
So you want to explain what they were talking about there?
Yeah, they have 2 laundry days usually, and it's Mondays and Fridays, so this is a Monday morning, and it was a nice day with fluffy white clouds, sunny, which is the perfect weather to do laundry. A nice breeze going. They hang their laundry out on the lines, so it gets dry really quick. It smells like fresh air, and it's just awesome. I still love line-dried laundry. Like, I literally sling my bedding over the porch railing just to dry it outside so it doesn't smell like...
Well, you should put up a laundry line.
I know, but it takes posts and actual laundry line, because I don't want to use just a twine.
You can get it from the Amish community.
I need to, if I go to Minnesota, I need to get some stuff because it's not as easy to get here in Texas.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so you would on a laundry line, usually one end is attached to the house, and it's on a pulley system, so it's not just a line itself. So it's on a pulley system, and you attach it one end to the house, if you can visualize it. Another end is attached to a post.
A long post.
Yeah, a long post. And probably about 50, 75, maybe 25 to 50 feet away from the house, something like that. And then you stand by the house and you load up a piece of laundry and you just
pin it on with the
pin it on, and you move it forward, you pin it on, and keep moving it until that whole line's full. And then, you take it off the same way. It's actually a really cool system.
It is. It is I love that. I want one of those myself. And Texas would be a nice place to have one because it's nice and windy and it doesn't get ice cold in the winter. So
yeah.
But they do sometimes have just poles with lines straight to hang heavy
they have
bedding
smaller
on.
Systems, right?
To hang heavy bedding on where they just have
oh yeah, that's
lines.
right. I remember that. We used to
because they can't hang too heavy clothes on the pulley line.
Yeah, I remember we used to have that.
Yep, so that's that. And then it says, yesterday Southeast Church was at Merle Gingrich's and to be next at Chester Gingrich's. Minister Ellen Bontriggers were there. Also Vernon Miller of Seymour, Iowa, and Benny Gingrich of Clermont, Iowa.
Benny Gingrich. That's a relative. Benny Gingrich is...
Probably not this Benny Gingrich, but I do know a Benny Gingrich that's a relative.
Oh, okay. Not the same one.
Probably not.
Are you sure?
I doubt it, because the Benny Gingrich that's our relative is an old order.
Yeah, I think he's older.
Isn't he Schwarzenegger?
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
I don't know.
I digress.
I don't know. We might have to figure out who we're talking about here. But yeah. They have their visitors, they have their church where it was at, where it's next to be at, and all the people that were there. So literally the same thing as the last article we read.
Okay, well, I guess that wraps it up for the articles. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that you wanted the audience to know about future episodes or
not that I know, except did you eat a pickle here? Put you in a pickle here?
No, go for it.
Are we gonna change the name?
Podcast? Hey, let's actually ask the audience. Should we change the name?
Should we change the name of
So please comment. Leave your comments and let us know if we should change the name.
Because it's turned into more of like a media thing than just a podcast.
And also leave your thoughts on the name change. We don't necessarily want to change the entire name, but we're considering changing part of the name.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And yes, we're hoping to do more media work. We're going to continue doing the interviews. We definitely want to continue that because I find it very interesting, and I know there's a lot of people out there that need to get their stories out. This podcast has really helped me to share my story and will continue to help me to share my story. And so I also want other people to be able to do that. I want other people to hopefully step out of their comfort zone and to be able to share their stories. That's why we created this in the first place. And so, but I feel like we want to do more than that. So we want to be able to put together more of a take a media approach, I guess.
Yeah.
And share stories along the way. So please leave your thoughts in the comments on that. And also, I shared in the last episode that I would explain a little bit about this shirt because I'm wearing an actual homemade Amish shirt and my new haircut, as some people have really, really complimented me in a negative way.
Oh gosh.
Did you see some of the comments?
Yes, I was reading some of the comments on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, people had some choicy words for me and you. And I was like, okay. Some of these people, and there was also one on Facebook, on one of our Facebook reels, just a literal, oh gosh, just someone telling us we suck. They literally left a comment saying we suck. I went to their profile and their bio says, live, laugh, love, or something like that, and live life joyfully or something like that. And I was like, okay.
We are. Don't worry, we are. We're taking.
What? Your bio does not really agree with your comment there.
Yeah, and here's what I want to not focus on the negative. I want to focus on the positive. And I've seen some of your comments that say, I absolutely love this channel.
Yes.
You guys are doing awesome work. And I just want to thank you for saying that. That means the world to us because we put a lot of thought, effort, and time into these videos. And I know majority of people don't have a good understanding of what goes into this. And you think we're making all this money off of doing these videos. And I'll just tell you, we are still donating our time, our money, our resources to make these videos and put them together. Maybe not by the time you're watching this, I don't know, but it takes a lot of time and effort in order to start making any kind of money from producing these videos. And so those comments mean the world to us.
And also the comments where people do leave hateful comments and then there's other people who would correct them or tell them something, they'll say we don't know what we're talking about or something like that. And then people are like, well, we grew up Swords and Super Amish, stuff like that. They will correct them in a nice way because we don't want you guys to fight in the comments, but correct them in a nice way. That also means a lot when you have people on your side in the comments. You see people taking your side when you can't always do that.
Yep. Yeah, we greatly appreciate that. We appreciate you guys cheering us on, and we want to continue doing these videos. And I always said, if we make one video and it impacts one person in a positive way, or we can help one person, that's enough for us to do the video. And sometimes reading a comment that's positive, one comment that's positive is enough for us to keep going and make the next video, because we are continuing to be committed to making a video, a new one, every single week. And I hope you guys are enjoying that. If you do, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. And also leave any comments or ideas on what videos you would like for us to make next. We have been doing our best to follow those comments and make videos accordingly. So we appreciate that. Before I close, I will explain a little bit about this shirt, because we kind of went on a rant about comments. So the Amish, the men, they have these shirts. And this is a specific Schwarzentrooper man's shirt. And you're not allowed to keep both of these open. You're always supposed to keep one button closed. At the very most, you can keep one open, like that. And most of the time, the real conservative people, like strict, following the rules, they will have both of them closed. So if you see one with both of them closed, more than likely he's a husband or deacon or someone that's like really strict. But the boys would always walk around with one open. And then also the rule about rolling up the arm sleeves. You're supposed to roll up your arm sleeves. Well, if you're very strict, you roll it up to about there. That's where my grandpa wore his. But then if you're a little less strict, you might roll it up to about right here. Okay, right there in the elbow. But if you're a kid and you're a little rebellious, or you're a member and you're a little rebellious, we roll it up all the way to here. And I'm not exaggerating here. There's nothing new for me to be having my sleeves roll up to here, and my mom coming around and rolling it down to here, and then me going and rolling it all the way up to here. Or my dad coming along and rolling it down, and then me rolling it back up. And that's how you knew that you're going against the rule. Do not ask me why they have these stupid rules, but they do, and you're supposed to follow them. But that's just what we're taught as kids, and we automatically know if we're not, if we're a little rebellious, we're gonna roll up the sleeves further. No, you can't cut your sleeve off. You have to have a sleeve. And the other thing I was thinking about is we would go barefoot a lot, but you're not allowed to wear sandals. Ever.
Yeah, I know. I used to we used to try and make ourselves like flip-flops. Like we would literally take cardboard, draw the outline of our foot, and like tape it onto our feet because we wanted flip-flops, because we thought those things were really cool. And now I can wear anything I want on my feet, and I hate flip-flops. I don't think I own a single pair.
You haven't found the right one yet.
I don't like them. Like having that like strap between your toes.
You gotta find the one that slips over your foot.
But those fall off.
Not if you get the right ones, Lynn.
Mine do.
Maybe we could strike a sponsorship deal. If you're watching this video and you want us to sponsor your flip-flops, send us a pair that's comfy. Lavina
Make sure it's the right size, because I have big feet.
What size are you?
Normal shoe size is size 9. If you have normal shoes.
Okay, I'll take a size 9.5 flip-flops.
Okay.
If we like them, maybe we'll sponsor them.
Yeah, we'll sponsor them. Yeah.
if they work.
Yes,
but they have to be comfortable, and they can't go between the toes.
Yeah, they can't have like the strap going between the toes.
That's something that you and I have in common, because I hate those ones that go through the toes. But I did find some that are okay that go like the strap over top.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the conclusion of today's video. We will see you in the next video.